Hello everyone, I am Deepika Santdasani, your host, and you're watching Risk and Reality. For today's episode, I'm going to take a leap year and say we are not just joined by a chartered accountant, but a force in finance. With sharp numbers, sharper strategy, and even sharper instincts for corporate excellence, he's somebody who's built his reputation for delivering financial solutions that drive real impact. From audits to financial level leadership decisions, he is somebody who's not just balancing numbers, but is a legacy in making. And the journey to his life has not been easy. No shortcuts, no silver spoon, just a man made of pure resilience, hard work, and this relentless drive has earned him prestigious awards and titles such as being recognized under the 40 Under 40 Power List and Great Indian Finance Controller of the Year. And trust me, those titles are well deserved. Beyond the boardrooms and audit, balance sheets, books, he's somebody who's kind-hearted, grounded, and the kind of leader who lifts others while he rises. And if you want to see his passion, bring up cricket. A true cricket fanatic, he plays the game of life as he plays his favorite sport, focused, strategic, and always in to win. Get ready for this episode because this is finance, leadership, and heart all rolled into one. Thank you so much, Rohtash, for being a part of this podcast, Risk and Reality.
Thank you, Deepika, for such a warm and overwhelmed introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward for a discussion for today.
Amazing. So Rohtash, I know that you've seen all the functions, right? You've been a functional head yourself, and now you're into leadership roles. I wanted to really understand from you that as an internal auditor, from the senior management's perspective, what do the internal auditors do to demonstrate and win trust of that of senior management?
So gaining a trust is not easy. So you have to stop thinking like an investigator or an inspector. Start thinking like an owner. So the day you start creating business value, you understand how we make a business value for a stakeholder. That is when a owner of a business or any management would have faith or gain that trust on an inspector or an internal auditor for that means.
Okay, so I'll take a leap year again and let's address the elephant in the room, right? How do senior management, including everyone, I would also include, say, the board, the audit committees, how do they really look at internal auditors? Do they just think of internal audit as a compliance, as a mere checklist activity, or do you think you look at us as strategic partners?
It depends. See, few companies basically do it like a mid-sized company or someone. They just need to get an internal audit done as a tick mark activity. But where we think when the company has to grow with the compliance in place, they will definitely take internal audit as a strategic partner, because internal audit not only does a post-mortem, they also help develop a process which can ease the business for company and gain that value. Value gained with compliance is a plus mark. Only value gained with business with profit margins is not a plus mark.
Okay, so thinking of us as strategic partners, say if you have a particular strategy that's currently going on in your organization, at what stage in strategy would you want internal auditors to enter? Would it be before, during, or after?
It would definitely be before the bell is ring, before the deal is proposed. Once the deal is done, it's only a post-mortem. Or for example, if the deal is already locked, the decision is already taken, you can't do anything. You're only vouching or verifying a particular decision which is made. That's a history. For you to be more objective, more beneficial to the management, you will be a part of a process before and during the task or an activity, before the big deal is called in.
Yeah. So I always kind of see a lot of hesitation in management in terms of getting the internal auditors hired or collaborating with them as strategic partners. Do you want to address that situation here? And I want to understand from you, what is something that you expect from us internal auditors that's maybe not often called out loud probably, but do you want to say what are the things that can be demonstrated from our end as internal auditors that would gain, say again, the trust of management, and you would think of us not just as mere checklist activity? What is something that we need to kind of put on paper and on the table?
So we have seen during the experience which I have gained, there are auditors, there are compliance managers who come to us. They give you a presentation which would have 100 of observations or 100 of lack in the process.
Right.
We are not interested in that. The more what we needed is out of that 100, give me 10 which will impact my company value. The value in the means doesn't only mean numbers, it's the value on the ethical business what we do.
Right.
The day you think like that or make the value for the stakeholder, that is when internal audit will be a business related, management related audit or a activity. Before that, it's just a mere checklist for many of the businesses.
So that naturally brings me to my next question, right? I know that insight is one thing, influence is another, and resonating from what you mentioned, management needs sharpness, right? So what would you say would make the internal auditor more credible for you at the leadership table? Do you want our reports to kind of be technically driven, or do you want the commercial side of it to also be highlighted as part of our conversations? What is the sharpness that the management is really expecting when we are trying to say present our findings, when trying to put forward recommendations? What is the expectation of the management?
The technical and commercial both moves hand in hand.
Right.
After the introduction of AI and the technical development which is happening in the technology and the technical knowledge is very important. However, what in the end matters is the commercial value.
Right.
Okay, so as a leader, I would not look at your presentation, and with commercial, the communication is also important. The way you communicate in 2 minutes that this is the lacking and this is the improvement plan which can happen, and this is the value creation that improvement will do it. That is more important as a leader. I as a leader will not be able to go through a presentation which will be 20-30 minutes long. For me, that 2 minutes gist will be an important one. So commercial with a good communication will be important.
Okay. And do you also expect auditors to be, I'm sure a lot of organizations are already doing, but do you expect AI to be part of our report findings? Do you expect benchmarks to be, kind of highlighted? Do you also expect like, okay, what is happening in say, a compete? What is my compete doing? For example, what are they doing in terms of expense reimbursement process? Do you also expect that kind of technical or technology savvy related part to be part of our reports and recommendations?
If we have to live and move with the pace the world is moving, we'll definitely need an AI based or a technology recommended solutions for sure in your report.
Right.
Because that is something which will also help us grow at a pace the world is growing. We can't be behind the race. We will have to lead the race. So we definitely would need that technology and AI based suggestions if available for answering a particular solution.
Okay, so now for the youngsters, right, who are say planning to become internal auditors in their journey of life, and definitely they want to bring value on the table. I see a lot of young professionals coming in, and the thought process, again, I have said this in my prior episodes, they kind of bring a new set of thought on the table, and they are looking to evolve beyond the mere checklist activity or internal audit being considered as mere checklist activity. So for those kind of internal auditors who are trying to build a career, and for the others who are trying to kind of make a permanent seat at the strategy table, what 3 capabilities or behaviors should they build immediately?
Good question. The 3 capabilities any internal auditor should have it. First thing is just understand how money is made. Once you understand the money, how the money is made, that is a very important point you understand. Second thing is don't be under a pressure of anyone. You are the one who should speak truth. You should not be influenced by management or any other person, because we have appointed you independently, so you should speak truth what is there. Third thing would be the insight what you have gained about the business, how those insights would help us grow or help us make the stakeholder value better.
Right.
That is what is expected from the internal auditor. All 3 things put together will definitely make you a strategic infrastructure rather than just a tick mark activity.
That's a very good insight, Rohtash. I think what you just mentioned is not sticking to not forgetting the foundation, but also getting more on the table, thinking more from the end of the management, understanding the situation, scenario, and going into the shoes of management, giving a solution, formulating a solution that way. I think that is something that will really help the internal auditors as well, like you said. Now, raising the stakes a little bit, imagining like a high pressure environment, which is of course driven by public scrutiny, where there's no room for error and we are all driven by tight deadlines on timelines. I know that you've recently been a part of a major IPO and you played a critical role in that activity. So from that perspective and drawing from that experience, how can internal audit support management while still maintaining objectivity?
So we would definitely want an internal audit to be a solution oriented without compromising in any pressure situation. So the 3 points which would definitely have this is flag the issues or red flags immediately as you come to know about it. Don't wait basically for the process to be concluded or something. The red flag should be immediate. Second thing, whatever are the issues still pertaining, escalate them transparently. Don't wait for it. And whatever the final outcome or any flaws that result would be a negative result, please protect them with a good solution which can actually create value for the company. So the above mentioned 3 points basically will lead you to getting a better solution under a pressure situation.
Right.
So the trust on a particular independent auditor or a compliance officer will be gained when they are doing the work honestly under a pressure situation.
Understood. So I think the two, takeaways that I have from this conversation is, one, to be transparent. Of course, honesty plays a critical role in transparency, and two, to kind of get into the shoes of management. That is what I'm taking back from these conversations. I have a very, special question for you. If you could grab every auditor in the world by the shoulder, just shake them and say, please do this one thing, what would that one thing be?
Internal auditor basically is a management auditor. It's not a stat compliance or something which we needed. So we want to partner with an internal auditor as a strategic partner.
Yeah.
And to do that, definitely we would need you to suggest us what makes value or creates value for an organization. Compliance is good.
Right.
We want to be compliant. However, without losing the value of the company. So when value creation with compliance protocol is there is when we move forward with a particular compliance team, move together, move hand in hand to gain that particular position for them in our table.
Thank you so much, Rohtash. What an incredible conversation. You remind us that great leaders don't just evaluate risk or manage risk, they build trust, not just through strategy, but integrity and resilience as well. Thank you so much for being a part of Risk and Reality. And I have taken a lot of information, takeaways from this episode. Especially, I always had these questions and I had always wanted somebody to address the elephant in the room in terms of internal auditors being a strategic partner. And I really feel that the internal audit as a fraternity is growing. They are learning so many new ways and they're developing tools, they are into solution, they're definitely a strategic partner. And I really wish that, we are all invited more to the boardrooms. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation.
Thank you, Deepika. It was a pleasure talking to you over a table. Yes, the strategic partnership with Internal Audit will definitely help many of the companies to grow efficiently, create value for the business, for the stakeholders. That is something which every business looks. No business or no particular business is run for no profit or no value creation.
Right.
Everyone runs a business for value creation. In the end, what matters to a stakeholder is the value creation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For our viewers, if you liked our conversation today, please stay tuned to Risk and Reality. Until then, like I always say, don't forget to follow your passion.